Welcome to VSB News Online for Friday, December 12th. I'm Peter Cattell. Rumors are circulating that the island's major insurance management company, Marsh, has let 10 Bermudian staffers go this week because it has been able to outsource their work to one of their overseas subsidiaries. None of the expatriate workforce has been affected by the moves. Although they will have ample opportunity to question government over the various concessions awarded those taking part in the America's Cup, the opposition got stuck in during question period today, only minutes after Dr. Grant Gibbons had tabled the America's Cup bill.
There seemed to be a lot of attention placed on how much these concessions would cost, and I think the simple answer is there really is no cost to the concessions, because had we not allowed some of these things like relief on duty for, let's say, an $80 million boat, we wouldn't be having the America's Cup in Bermuda. So to some degree, this came with the ability to be able to sort of say, here are things that we will help to facilitate having you here. And I think the opposition was looking for some specificity. And I said it's difficult to do that because there's so many variables. For example, a payroll tax concession will depend on the number of teams that are here, will depend on the number of people in those teams. There are all sorts of equipment, other issues that would come in here. If we were to charge for those things, then I think they would truly say that Bermuda is a very expensive place to do business, and they would have probably considered, let's say, an alternate jurisdiction. So we don't lose anything there in a real sense, but what we do gain is all of these people coming in, the teams, the visibility, and obviously the the rejuvenation of tourism in many respects as a consequence of having them here.
But licensing for driving a car and things like that, they're being waived.
Sure. Yeah, that's the idea.
Opposition leader Mark Bean was particularly keen to know what the cost of removing customs duties, payroll taxes, vehicle license fees, and several other concessions amounted to.
I have said it clearly that it's going to cost Bermuda something, and we should accept the fact. We would just want transparency so that all taxpayer funds or commitments or even contingent liabilities, the people are aware of it, and that way we are not caught with our eyes closed, per se. And the minister today spoke about concessions and a bill that is bringing. And so we just asked a simple question: what do you think is the estimated value of the concessions? And he said that, well, we can't figure out or put our finger on it, and my words, not his, because there are too many variables. Well, the whole purpose of doing estimates is to consider the variables. That's the whole purpose of doing modeling, right? And so the fact that Dr. Gibbons would say we can't give you a definitive answer because of the variables is unacceptable.
Bermuda's tourism image got another positive boost today when Tourism Minister Sean Crockwell told Parliament that the DEC Hotel Group had committed to the redevelopment of the Club Med site in St. George's, with the groundbreaking for the $120 million first phase taking place next summer, and St. Regis taking over management.
I was pleased to advise the Honorable House that the DEC Hotel Co. Group, the developer that was selected to build a hotel in St. George's, we have reached agreements in principle on many of the pre-development, development, and commencement issues that we were going through during the exclusivity period, that they have selected the five-star brand, luxury brand, St. Regis, and that we're looking to break ground on this very important project by mid-2015, next year. So this is great news for Bermuda, extraordinary news for St. George's. Obviously, that property has been vacant since 1998 when Club Med left, and so we're very excited that it looks like we're going to get a new hotel there in the next couple of years.
And golf course will benefit too?
Absolutely. Part of the plan is to redevelop the golf course. It would be a Robert Trent Jones golf course. So it's going to be a luxury property. It's going to be a property that has all of the modern amenities, including a spa and the golf course. And it will be definitely a jewel for St. George's and for Bermuda. To have a brand like St. Regis come to Bermuda, it would help elevate the entire jurisdiction, because many high net worth individuals, particularly, they look for specific brands when they travel. And we do have a dearth of luxury brands in Bermuda, so we're very pleased about St. Regis.
The leaders of the two political parties had a slightly different reaction to the stern words of warning from House Speaker Randolph Horton, delivered in Parliament this morning, which essentially said, behave or be expelled. Premier Michael Dunkley said the Speaker could count on the government benches for support.
It's unacceptable that we get into some of these positions. No one's perfect, but rules are rules, and we need to follow them. We need to show some leadership in it. What happens in the House can be contentious at times because of we can have very different opinions and views on legislation, very important and critical legislation. I think we all understand and accept that, but if we want the community to follow our lead, and if we want them to support us in what we do, we have to do better in leadership. And I've urged that to our colleagues through the week. I've had the opportunity to speak to the Speaker a couple of times over the past week, saying that we'd be fully supportive of any measures he takes, and we'll just draw a higher standard to it. We see how legislators act all over the world. None of them are immune from these type of challenges. We shouldn't make excuses for the type of governance system that we have. The system operates as well as the people involved. And on the government's behalf, as the Premier, I will make sure that I hold my colleagues to a higher point of order as we go forward. I would not expect that you'll see problems from the government benches.
But Opposition leader Mark Bean felt it important to look for clues about the lack of respect shown to each other by the two sides in the way things had gone since the last election.
Unfortunately, over the last 2 years, there's been too many events in this House that have been passed over with a slap on the wrist that has created an environment of distrust, an environment that prevents any form of collaboration. And I could say that that hasn't emanated from the Progressive Labour Party side, but it does take two to tango. And so we would accept the Speaker's encouragement of us to govern ourselves accordingly.
Because he's right, the constituents do get a warm, fuzzy feeling when you guys work together.
Some constituents do, others don't, because oftentimes that warm and fuzzy feeling is based around kumbaya and not a desire to seek out and search for the truth. And that goes across the political spectrum. All depends on who's on the receiving end of criticism, right? And that just shows the fleetingness of people's mindsets. And it's not just Bermuda, but that's politics in general. But we can improve, and we will seek to do what we can to improve, but it's not going to water down the fire that we have in terms of carrying out our responsibilities as an effective opposition.
Outstanding tourism authority fees amounted to over $1 million when Tourism Minister Sean Crockwell took office. That amount has now been reduced to just over $34,000, leaving only 8 properties in arrears, explained the minister.
When I became the minister, the arrears in relation to this particular fee, what we call now the tourism guest fee, when I was the minister, it was $1 million in arrears, over $1 million of arrears. When I became the minister, I was astounded that almost none of that was collected. Gave the chairman, Mr. David Dutwell, a directive that those arrears needed to be collected immediately, and he did. And now we are approaching the end of this fiscal year, because the Tourism Authority operates from January to December, and to only have $34,000 in arrears is really a testament to the hard work of the BTA on this issue. It was unfortunate that I was forced to name and shame certain properties, but those who do owe, we are prepared to be considerate, but they all understand their obligation and they're trying to meet those obligations.
And we'll return with more news right after this.
The Marketplace Food Court is you and your family's one-stop shop. Start your day at the Breakfast Bar with omelets made to order and traditional Bermuda codfish breakfast. The chefs will cook lunch and dinner to your liking. Along with the salad bar, sandwich bar, sushi bar, and fruit bar, the Marketplace Food Court is your kitchen away from home. Every day is hassle-free with nutritious meals from the Marketplace Food Court. Visit us 7 days a week. Homemade cooking, quality service, all at prices you can count on.
And to complete our week of bringing you the 10 honorees from the latest Sporting Hall of Fame ceremony, here are the acceptance speeches of track and field star Jerry Swan and cricket commentator CV Jim Woolridge.
But it's an absolute thrill to stand before you this evening and accept this honor and be inducted into the Bermuda Sports Hall of Fame. My journey as a coach has spanned a period slightly more than 1/4 of a century. I have enjoyed the support of various persons and it would be highly remiss of me if I didn't mention some of those persons. I heard Colin say this evening, he wrote it down, probably no merits in playing a cup match. I want to do him on the track and feel very comfortable. And just to be sure and try not to miss out on anyone or anything, I decided I better write down a few points, a few things. And in that journey of more than 25 years as either a coach or national coach of the Bermuda Track and Field Association, now called the Bermuda National Athletics Association, I've had the assistance, volunteer assistance, of a few people along that path. I'd like to acknowledge them. Track and field is an individual sport, so when you're dealing with, when you're coaching a group of athletes in different disciplines, that in itself is demanding. Each athlete requiring his or her training program, at least that was my approach.
I didn't think I could get on today. I taught Sean too much. No, this has been a great occasion for me and my family. My family is sitting right over there, and Ross has been dressed for 2 days now. The rest of the show has been la-di-da, you know, fellow making sixes and what have you, and have to bring a new flavor to the table. And I told her, I want you to be your finest, and when you get up there, act real cute. This has been a very informative occasion, and I've enjoyed every bit of it, and I've been educated.
The PLP today accused the OBA of overspending by $6 million on Heritage Wharf, despite the fact that the project had begun on their watch. Works Minister Patricia Gordon-Pamplin was not prepared to accept this line of reasoning.
The opposition were trying to link it into a failed project because the ultimate cost it was significantly higher than the original estimates. What I tried to point out to the opposition is that they were the ones who determined the estimates through whatever processes they used, and it was indicative of many of the projects that we'd seen developed under their administration, in which the initial cost, according to their initial RFPs, had no bearing on what the ultimate cost actually was going to be. And that was the situation that I was trying to point out, because they estimated it at $22.9 million. It's coming in at $28.8 million when it is completed. And I think that what they were trying to say that we've overspent by $6 million. No, you underestimated by $6 million, because the estimating process was entirely under their administration.
Opposition leader Mark Bean said he found it ironic that the party that blamed the PLP for the cost overrun of the Port Royal Golf Course could not accept that public projects of this nature were often underestimated.
The irony is for all to see. The One Bermuda Alliance and all their supporters have not stopped talking about the Port Royal contract and the cost overruns. But yet the very first capital project that the OBA actually engaged in, they had a 25% overrun. And the minister had the nerve to refer to November 2011, when we were the government, as almost as if this was the start of this project. When, as you could recall, this was something that came as a result of the government saying or stating or identifying issues with the construction site. And so they came in, and that was part of cleaning up our mess. Remember the narrative? We're cleaning up your mess. We're cleaning up your mess. We're not going to be transparent. You are incompetent. We're going to clean up your mess. Well, lo and behold, $6 million cost overrun. Now, should I ask where that money went to? Should I cast aspersions on the developers or the construction agents? Should I cast aspersions on the minister? The way that they did for us? No, we would take the higher ground and just say that this is par for the course for public capital projects.
Although the opposition were convinced that government would side with them on changing the date of May 24th to the last Friday in May, an independent poll has persuaded the OBA to vote to leave things the way they are. Minister of Community and Cultural Affairs, Wayne Scott, explains.
One of the things that we committed to was to wait for results of a poll to come back just to ensure that we're on the right side of this with the people. Based on those polls, we had 57% of those who are in support of keeping it on the 24th of May versus 40% in support of changing it to that Friday before the last Monday. Now, what's very interesting with that poll is across male, female, black, white, all of the different age groups, 18 to 34, 35 to 44, 45 to 54, 55 to 64, and 65 plus, not one of those groups were actually in support of it. So the numbers that were approximately 60-40 were materially correct across all of those demographics, which was actually a surprise.
I think the public, have a soft spot for tradition in Bermuda.
Well, absolutely, and the public has spoken, and we will adhere to that, so we will actually not be supporting that amendment.
And now we turn to Earl Baisden with today's Sports Report.
Olympic sports on the lookout, as an Australian newspaper reports that the International Olympic Committee, the IOC, is considering axing several track and field events at Olympic competitions in order to add additional sports. The article, which appears in the Age newspaper in Melbourne, Australia, reports the IOC leaders have talked about getting rid of such events as shot put, 10,000 meters run, the men's walking race, triple jump, and most notably, the 200-meter dash. The report also suggests that swimming could suffer a similar fate. East Zone winners St. George's Preparatory booked a place in the primary school semifinals with a 3-2 victory over the West Pembroke School in the Bermuda School Sports Federation's knockout tournament. St. George's Prep will now face East Central Zone champion Summersfield Academy, who won their quarterfinal match 5-2 over Dalton E. Tucker. West Central Zone champions Paget Primary needed a penalty shootout to defeat a determined and feisty Alliot Primary School team. The scores were tied at a goal apiece after regulation, with Paget winning 4-3 on kicks from the penalty mark. Somerset Primary was the only zone champions not to progress to the semifinals, as they suffered a 6-3 defeat to Harrington Sound Primary School. Bermuda High School edged past Warwick Academy in the girls' qualifying match 1-0, while Saltus defeated Warwick Academy in the under-16 senior school boys match 2-1. Cedar Bridge Academy won their girls' quarterfinal match 4-0 over Saltus. The Bermuda Goodwill Golf Tournament continued yesterday for round 3 at the Port Royal, Riddles Bay, Mid-Ocean, and Tuckers Point Golf Clubs after a rest day the day before. Weston Golf Club goes into the final round with a 2-shot lead in the ladies' gross division at 7 under par after finishing the day at Riddles Bay with a 71. Close behind in second place is Georgian Bay Club at 5 under par after shooting an impressive 66. In third place at 4 under is the Country Club of New Bedford, who also shot a 66 at the Riddles Bay Golf Club. Riverside Country Club appeared to have the men's junior gross division locked up as they finished round 3 with a 12-stroke lead after shooting 62 in their rotation. Fighting for second place and all at 14 under par are the Breakers West Reese Jones team, having shot a 68 yesterday. Donalda Club A team shot a 64, and High Five Golf finished the day with a 66. After 3 rounds in the senior gross division, the Lakes Golf Club take a 3-shot lead at 18 under with rounds of 64, 65, and 65. Right on their heels is Lambden Golf Club's E team at 15 under with rounds of 64, 63, and 70. At 12 under is the local team from the Ocean View Golf Club, who have rounds of 69, 67, and 64. After 12 events, Ashley Earwood and her Denison University women's swimming teammates sit in 5th place with 962.5 points during the Miami University Invitational Swim Meet. Host Miami University leads the 17 field with 1,682 points. Yearwood finished with the 19th fastest time in the women's 100-yard butterfly preliminaries, touching the wall in a time of 57.74. Yearwood advanced to the B finals, where she finished 8th with a time of 58.01. During the women's 100-yard backstroke preliminaries, Yearwood met the NCAA Division III B standard when she swam the 11th fastest time of 57.06. In the women's 100-yard backstroke B final, Yearwood finished 6th, clocking a time of 58.51. Yearwood swam the 3rd leg of the Denison women's 200-yard medley relay team that finished 4th with an NCAA B standard time of 1:43.66. Week 4 of the Bermuda Smash Commercial Table Tennis League saw the final play for the league for 2014. The home team, Smash and Dash, defeated TBA 5-1, while Smash and Bowls defeated the Security Associates Limited 5-3. The Happy Valley Dental defeated the Smooth Bowl Strokers 5-2, and the Itsy Bitsy Smashers defeated the Ball Breakers 5-3. The Smash Commercial League will take a break for the rest of the holiday season and will resume Week 5 on Thursday, January the 8th at 6:30. Taking a look at the finals that will take place at the National Sports Center tomorrow. For the Bermuda School Sports Federation, at 11 a.m., it will be the primary school girls final and the middle school girls final. At 12:30, we'll see the senior school under 16 final along with the middle school boys under 13 final. At 2 p.m., the primary school boys final will take to the pitch as well as the senior school girls final. At 3:30, it will be the senior school over 16 boys final and the middle school over 13 final. I'm Earl Basden reporting for VSB Sports.
Thanks for watching VSB News Online for Friday, December 12th. I'm Peter Kitzel.